Glad that you can join me here today, and congratulations for making it through to the 172nd video. And here we are after 2 days of taking some time out to recalibrate, and we continue on. This is audio video visual version of The Sovereign Light, a course in metaphysical spirituality. And my name is Reverend Maria Arvanitidis. How do you do? So glad that you can join me here for this 173rd video out of 319 videos. And shall we begin? Sounds good. Day 200, excerpts 532 and 533. Only with great compromise can the outside world cultivate into groups and to share for their settled, unagreed perspectives. The sacrifice is in the settling for mediocre conditioning to obey in the participation of such conduct and to play on the same team with the same rules against another. So it's Father's Day, and I thought, what a nice place to have my coffee. It's right on the corner of Eglinton, Weston Road, and I think Jane, just east of there. And so with everything going on in the background and foreground, might you take a few deep breaths in and pull yourself into your own center and feel yourself sinking in into the heart and anchor. Take a few deep breaths in, stretch if you will, and blow it out. And with these words formulated to give the idea, the activation, to reaffirm throughout your day what exactly it is that you wish to have throughout your day. I want the peace that healing can provide. And let yourself open up to this inner stillness. The peace to let your heart open and the healing begin. So whenever you're ready, allow for these words and grasp them and take them in and open to the day for this acceptance that it may start to activate from within your own being. Ready? And let's begin to say these words out loud. I want the peace that healing can provide. 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 And with all the distractions and depressions and oppressions, there is a difference in this loss of self to feel this way, that it may be in the lack of self-expression that it starts to doubt and procrastinate and feel depressed from the isolation of all the bombardments from its external world. And this creates blockages that energy cannot flow properly through all the many channels to operate, and it feels stuck at times. So when you're not feeling the peace, and there's a defense mechanism because of all LED lights, vibrations, noise, it even makes the bees, they're becoming extinct rather, because it disorients them from all the man-made vibrations that go on, and so many other things that are become obsoleted because of mankind. And today we want to find the peace that healing can provide, and from within ourselves, so that the many can ripple out to the many, to open up in small increments, if they will, for a planetary healing. The more resistance, the more persistence from that of which the self is in resistance to. So when we resist the matrix and we fight it, it fights back. And when there's a win-lose situation, we always end up losing when we fight the matrix. So it's best to change the perspective in the win-lose situations so that we can see it from a win-win situation and cancel out all that battling over, victim perpetrating, dualistic densities that may present themselves throughout our day when we come to engage with our reality. And just say to yourselves, and remember these words: I want the peace that healing can provide, the sticking mechanism that churns the conflict and as such a battle with the inner against outer working of the self. Learn from this attraction, and after all, be grateful for the interest it has occupied with the self to play with in this way. After all, they were once tools, were they not, to help assist in our upgrade until no longer were they made of use. And we can thank them and release them and let them go for the service that they have provided. For instance, the music in the background, it's to stimulate me with my morning coffee. It can be a distraction, or it can be a tool that I may use to stimulate my senses or numb them and dumb them down. So learn from this attraction, and after all, be grateful for the interest it has occupied with the self to play with in this way. And different faces, same situations, and will continue to repeat until the self can solve the reason for such delinquency in matter. So today's lesson is all about the meaning behind the masked compromises. Throughout the day, see how many times that the self experiences having to bargain for its peace of mind, and how it may result in harmony from this disharmony. So take about a few minutes, as much as you can, to feel these intervals intermittently, roughly as many times, preferably one through your break in the middle of the day and before you start it, and at the end of the day when you go to rest to start anew. Practice this, or even 4 times, and make certain that one will be for the end of the day, to better set for the intention, for the idea, and repeat with deep sincerity the following words. I want the peace that healing can provide. Everything external can be takeaways or can be add-ons. And what we don't make use of, we discard, or it annoys us to the point that we must see it differently. I want the peace that healing can provide. Really mean the words that are spoken from this idea. Then with eyes closed, go over on. Do these compromises have any gain, and for whom? So when you feel these compromises, take them apart and see what is the root cause of this feeling. And from the dismantling, you can put it back together in an integrated way that best serves your level of awareness and how you feel and your preference in that moment, as we keep changing from moment to moment. Find as many angles and boomerangs seen as losses, and again, for whom? What is this grief? Are you feeling grief? Take it apart. There is a difference between depression and grief. Depression is just one aspect of this thing called grief, and there is differences of these indices to leverage and how we feel and what it is that tries to oppress and take away and degrade and disrespect us, that makes us feel at loss from our own self. Welcome and accept by changing the perspective of the dream and into that for the self transmutation. And the best way to do this, a lot of the times, it just happens naturally. Let it happen. Let it flow right through you. You'll feel it. And those tears will start rolling down. And yes, cry. Release it. Crying is the best form, the best practice of this thing called transmutation. Make peace with the self and with the where, with all that is and what it is that it wants. What does it want? And transmute, transfigure, to transform that of what the self does prefer. Make a vision board. What is it about? What is it that you want? What is your passion? Invite it on a vision board. Make it stronger. Again, be playful and with the imagination uninhibited, explore all desired possibilities. It is through the oneness of the many that the self can be healed. And from that oneness of the many, that it can heal. The purpose is to transcend from denial, the healer that is the self, and give meaning to the healing from where it finds its peace. What is it that we're lacking, that we want to seek attention from others? What is this disconnect that we're providing from within to others? Is it a power struggle of all sorts? We hear it all around us in our external world, these takeaways. And what are these discomforts that we feel from others who probably don't even know? They're so desensitized from it all, in their hopes or intentions of seeking out attention. Say, oh, look at me, I'm a hurt little boy or girl, and I have these big boy toys or girl toys with big engines and motors, and I'm working for the TTC, making all this, abusing my power and making everybody uncomfortable and all these things. It comes out from everybody, from the many. And when we can see it in that way, we can transmute it for ourselves. And once we do, it also, in small increments, ripples out to the many. And by giving them attention, is that empowering them? Is that a codependent relationship? Because that's a false empowerment. The empowerment must come from within. That's just a band-aid solution. So next time we go to do that, even for your children, for your kids, look at me, Mom, look at me, Mom. Know what false empowerment is and what real empowerment is, and if you're disabling or enabling your children. So with that, leverage, and may the self be of sovereign light, be with. I want the peace that healing can provide. I want the peace that healing can provide. I want the peace that healing can provide. I want the peace that healing can provide.